Hey everybody, it's the Opinion Atheist, and today I'm coming at you with a story and a science lesson. So there I was, performing my compulsory duty as a militant atheist, to find Christian stuff online to troll on, and I came across this. Oh yeah, troll time, I thought to myself, as I began to tear this article a new asshole. So reading in the article, it'll say, interesting thought I've been ruminating over. The Big Bang air quotes theory. A lot of people who claim there is no God cite the Big Bang as evidence that God could not have created the universe. Yeah, fair assessment. And it was ultimately a chaotic and rapid exothermic expansion of energy that slowed down to form all matter that is now contained within the observable universe. No, that's not what we say at all. That has nothing to do with the facts. So I've heard this malarkey before. And it most likely comes from a book by Kenneth Copeland called The Blessing of the Lord Makes Rich and He Adds No Sorrow with It. And I'm also pretty sure this guy forgot to check the science after reading this bullshit. Moving on, remember that since E equals mc squared, energy equals matter times the speed of light multiplied by itself. At least he can read equations. Then energy is just matter moving insanely quickly. Law of conservation of energy and law of conservation of mass, motherfucker. So after the initial expansion, the energy that was moving outward would have began to expend itself and slow down forming matter, in theory. Actually, no, that's in hypothesis because there's no evidence to support that bullshit you just said. Some have theorized that the energy that was responsible for the expansion was electromagnetic radiation, also known as light. Wrong again, dude. Light isn't energy. Light is actually composed of massless boson particles called photons that carry the energy. And, as mentioned earlier, the laws of conservation of mass and energy tear this apart from the beginning, because both mass and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only change form. So the current amount of energy in the universe and the current amount of matter in the universe will never change. See, matter can absorb energy, that's an endothermic reaction, and matter can also give off energy. That's an exothermic reaction. But what about nuclear weapons, Opinion Atheist? So, what a lot of people seem to misunderstand is that even though E equals mc squared was used by J. Robert Oppenheimer in the development of nuclear weapons, what he was actually pioneering was a process called fission, in which you split the atom. And all that really does is create an extreme exothermic reaction, giving off a large amount of energy by performing this action. So nothing is destroyed, nothing is created, things are only changing form. Because remember, particles are matter. Just because you can see something big or anything like that, that doesn't make any more matter than particles, it just means it has more mass. What really happened? Well, there was a rapid expansion of electromagnetic radiation, which we know now is not energy, and there's also free quarks everywhere. As time progressed and the universe cooled and slowed, quarks came together to form nucleons, which are protons and neutrons. But in the creation of these nucleons, you also had antimatter. So you had particle-antiparticle pairs. And they just began to destroy each other because antimatter, when it comes into contact with regular matter, creates an annihilation. Because of these particle pairs absorbing the energy in order to create themselves, there wasn't sufficient energy left free in the universe to create more of these particle pairs. Everything you see and everything that's in the observable universe, all the matter, is actually what's left over from the annihilation of these particle-antiparticle pairs. Because of this annihilation, most of the matter that existed in the early universe was destroyed, and we live in what's the remnant of that matter. This doesn't go against the conservation laws because after that point there was no longer any antimatter being formed, therefore no way for matter to be annihilated. Back to this genius's article. I propose this. What if when God said, "Let there be light," he was causing the Big Bang? Some argue that no eternal God can have created the universe. Actually, I don't think there's really anybody arguing that. We're not saying that no God could have created the universe. What we're saying is that he probably didn't. It's not what happened. And that the concept of eternity is only an abstract thought and cannot be rationalized. Philosophically, I agree with this person that eternity is just an abstract concept and can't be rationalized by the human mind. But you also have to think, theists who think like this can't rationalize the millions of years that it takes for evolution to take place. Yet they also claim to be able to rationalize this eternity by knowing and understanding God. However, time as we understand it did not technically begin until after the Big Bang. But wouldn't something have to precede the Big Bang in order to initiate it? Some sort of external force or stimulus to cause the reaction? I don't accept this first cause theology. And yes, something did have to happen to cause the Big Bang. Call that God if you want, but if you did, you'd probably be closer to Spinoza than Jesus. Hey, and you know what? Nobody really knows what happened before the Big Bang or what caused it. We have a lot of hypotheses, but that's all we have. But at this point, none of those lead to a creator God. Nothing just happens. We can clearly observe that, and it has been proven. Something caused it. Could the eternal and uncreated God have caused the Big Bang in order to begin his creation process? Obviously, we cannot prove this. But we also can't prove the Big Bang happened. And we can't prove when. This level of stupid makes me feel bad. Yeah, we can prove the Big Bang. First, take a look around. Everything you can see, that right there, that's some supporting evidence, even if it's anecdotal at best. Not to mention the fact that there are various mathematical models which I am not smart enough to understand that support it, as well as the fact that from our place in space-time we can see back up to 380,000 years after the Big Bang happened to observe the microwave radiation, which is supportive of the model. This is where it becomes an issue of either faith or denial. Faith that God did in fact create the universe by whatever means we cannot seem to determine, or denial of anything we cannot concretely prove because we don't have enough evidence, which we may never actually have. No, faith in this milieu is blind acceptance of something that you've heard that you have no reason to believe. Denial of things we can't prove and have no evidence for is not being unreasonable, it's being rational. Some things are absolutely unable to be proven, and some are just attacks on faith. Some things are unable to be proven currently. And no, they're not attacks on faith, they're really just proving that your God is extremely improbable. Improbable to the point of insignificance. And to those who deny God exists without proof beyond reasonable doubt, would it not be reasonable to assume that there are things we will never prove, yet you believe them in theory? Isn't this a form of faith? No, it's not faith, because faith is blind acceptance. You're doing that stupid thing a lot of people do when they say theory and don't understand what it is. A theory isn't something that becomes a law. A theory is something that explains the law, and a theory requires evidence to be substantiated. We accept the theory, we accept the evidence that makes the theory, that explains the law. It has nothing to do with faith. Why then is faith in God so unreasonable? Faith in this setting is unreasonable because you lack any substantial evidence, not to mention that you deny the evidence that is available because of your cognitive dissonance. There does not need to be a conflict between faith and science, but we should find a way to marry the two beliefs that aren't actually that separate. Yes, they are in fact that separate, because faith relies on blind belief. Science relies on acceptance of evidence and fact. Anything that isn't supported doesn't gain ground. That's it. You ever wonder if somebody just looks as dumb as they sound? Here, I'm going to bring up a picture of the jackass who wrote this. Haha! It's me! Guilty. I actually started this blog a couple years ago. And one of the things I wanted to show you is that somebody as dumb as this can actually become a rational, reasonable person. You just can't force it on them. I had to seek out the truth, and I had to seek out the evidence on my own when I chose to. That's a wrap, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Twitter. I even provided a link to my old blog if you want to go laugh at me. I'm the Opinion Atheist. Reason beats bullshit every time.